Papa John's is one of the most popular pizza chains in the country, and its restaurants can even be found in more than 40 countries around the world. Today, Papa John's is worth an incredible $2.6 billion, and with plans for a rebrand and revamp in the works, it seems like the sky's the limit for the company. Though many people know and enjoy Papa John's pizza, most don't know that the entire empire was started by a young boy who started the business out of a broom closet in a small town in Indiana. His story is certainly one of hard work, determination, and a little bit of luck. John Hampton Schnatter was born in Jeffersonville, Indiana on November 23, 1961. His parents, Mary and Robert Schnatter, raised John in a middle-class home where he had a happy life and solid education. Mary worked as a real estate agent and Robert as a judge in the local justice system. John graduated from Jeffersonville High School and received a business degree from Ball State University in 1983. During his time at Ball State, his father, Robert, decided to change professions. He quit working as a judge and purchased a tavern called Mick's Lounge in Jeffersonville. And the very next year, John decided he wanted to open his own business as well. Luckily, because his father had recently purchased the tavern, John thought it would be the perfect location to start a small pizza company. He had worked in various pizza restaurants throughout high school and college and believed he had the skill set to create delicious pizzas. It's important to understand that by 1984, there were 3 incredibly successful pizza companies already in the game. Little Caesars, Domino's, and Pizza Hut had been in business for at least 2 decades, and pizza was undoubtedly one of the most popular cuisines throughout the country. So John's idea, though certainly a good one, was not completely unique. He saw that people loved great pizza. Because his father's tavern was struggling to get customers in the door, his idea was to start selling pizza there in order to improve sales. John took a big risk when starting his business. He sold his 1971 Camaro and purchased $1,600 worth of used pizza equipment and started making pizzas in the broom closet of the tavern. And only 1 year later, in 1985, his business had been profitable enough for John to move into an adjoining space next to the tavern and called the restaurant Papa John's. Once it was clear that Papa John's was destined to be far more successful than the tavern ever could be, they sold Mick's Lounge and used the money, as well as the profits from Papa John's, to open several more locations in the area. Most businesses struggle within the first few years, and it's almost unheard of to see a business experience only upward growth. However, that's exactly what happened to Papa John's. After moving into the adjoining space next to the tavern in 1985, it didn't take long before Papa John's started franchising. And it only took 8 years for the company to officially go public in 1993. Just 1 year later, in 1994, there were 500 Papa John's locations around the country, and by 1997, there were a whopping 1,500 stores. In the late 1990s, he decided to move the company headquarters to Louisville, Kentucky, as they had grown far too big for the small town of Jeffersonville. It seemed that Papa John's had become a complete and total success in just about 15 years. A huge feat for a company that started with 1 used oven in a broom closet. John's idea for the business was quite simple: make good pizza that people could enjoy at an affordable price point. In fact, their slogan was simple but effective: better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Of course, it was challenging to compete with the big names of the time, such as Domino's and Pizza Hut, but Papa John's set itself apart with one important creation: pizza dipping sauces. They were the first company to offer dipping sauces, and customers absolutely loved using them for the crust of their pizza. And it wasn't just Papa John's that was doing well. John had quickly become one of the most prominent business owners in the country. In 1998, at only 37 years old, he won the Nation Ernst and Young Retail Consumer Entrepreneur of the Year award. And 1 year later, he was named one of the 10 outstanding young Americans by the National JC's organization. In fact, Papa John's and John's success lasted well into the new millennium. However, as everyone knows, there's no such thing as a free ride. And in 2017, Papa John's faced financial trouble for the first time. In 2017, Papa John's sales started faltering for the first time in decades. John blamed the NFL for these losses, as the company was the NFL's official pizza company and had marketing deals with 23 of the 32 teams. And during this time, the NFL was struggling due to protests during the U.S. national anthem by its football players. John believed that these protests were directly affecting pizza sales, so John decided that Papa John's would no longer be the sport's official sponsor. That same year, John Schnatter announced that he would step down as the CEO of the company amid controversy over his comments and decision to leave the NFL. John remained the face of the company and still appeared in commercials. He also remained the company's biggest shareholder and stayed on as chairman of the board of directors. By 2018, sales had not improved, and it seemed that John's remarks in the media in regard to his political opinions were doing quite a bit of damage to Papa John's image. John had always been a stark Republican and spoke outwardly about his frustrations with then-President Barack Obama. And one specific incident of racist remarks on the phone with his marketing company led them to drop Papa John's as a client. After that, John was forced to step down from his post as chairman. But the trouble didn't stop there. After John had stepped down, he lost a significant amount of control of the company, and he filed several lawsuits in order to attempt to access the company's books and records. However, the corporation had a strategy in place to limit John's chances of ever owning a majority stake in the company again. In 2019, it seemed that John had won the majority of his legal battles with Papa John's and was allowed to be once again privy to the company's records and sales. But the incident had made John bitter towards the empire he created. By the end of the year, he had publicly denounced the quality and consistency of Papa John's pizzas around the country, saying, "I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days, and it's not the same pizza. It's not the same product. It just doesn't taste as good." And today, instead of being a majority shareholder, John Schnatter only owns about 4% of Papa John's conglomerate. And although he is still a multimillionaire with a personal net worth of more than $400 million, he is significantly less wealthy than he was in 2017, when his estimated worth was over $1 billion. Because of the personal struggles of John Schnatter, including his racist remarks, as well as losing their chairman, CEO, and owner, and losing their contract with the NFL, Papa John's needed to make some significant changes in order to stay profitable. In order to make this happen, the company decided to focus on 5 things. First, they made sure John Schnatter was nowhere near their advertisements, and even released marketing campaigns that showed they had separated completely from him. Then, they rebranded their look, even removing the apostrophe from the name so it read Papa John's instead of Papa John's. And third, they focused on keeping up with technological advancements to make ordering easier for their customers. In fact, they were the first pizza company to offer 100% online ordering on their website, which turned out to be a huge win for them during the global pandemic when at-home ordering was at an all-time high. Papa John's also revamped their menu and added several new products, such as stuffed crust pizza, as well as sides and additional styles like the New York pizza that all turned out to be huge hits. And last but certainly not least, they hired an expert as their CEO, Rob Lynch. Lynch had previous experience as the president of Arby's and had completely turned that business around during his reign. Rob almost single-handedly had been able to improve the company's financial performance and recover from several years of disappointing sales. He has implemented superior support for franchises and staff so that they can collectively get Papa John's back on track and back on top. These 5 tactics absolutely did the trick. They were able to regroup, and by 2021, the company's sales surpassed $2 billion for the first time ever. Throughout all of the ups and downs of Papa John's success, there is no doubt that the company is once again one of the most profitable and certainly one of the largest pizza restaurant chains on the planet. Still competing with the big names in the business, there are more than 5,600 Papa John's locations around the country and the world. The company employs over 100,000 people and sells over 350 million pizzas every year. With Rob Lynch at the wheel, it seems that once again the sky may just be the limit for Papa John's. And with the rebrand and the ridiculously high current sales, who knows, maybe they finally will overtake Pizza Hut and Domino's as they have been trying to do for decades. And although John Schnatter no longer runs or even owns the majority share in the company, there is no doubt that his dedication and work ethic throughout the first 2 decades of Papa John's inception was what made the company one of the most successful restaurant chains ever made. And to think that this entire empire, now worth billions of dollars, started in a broom closet in the back of a failing tavern in rural Indiana is kind of crazy. But that is exactly what happened. Hungry for another fascinating business story? Click on the following video to hear the crazy story about the boy who turned his father's bakery into billions.